Welcome back to the Introduction of Cloud Computing workshop. In this part 2, we'll discuss some detail about free trial, set up your own account, explore different products, and cloud computing budget control. So let's get started. To open an AWS account, all you need is just an email address and a credit card. First, go to the website aws.amazon.com and click the icon Create an AWS account. You will need to enter your email address, choose a password, and account name. You can use any name you like for your account. You also need to choose a country or region and enter your phone number. You will need to verify phone number with a code sent to you. After this step, you need to enter your billing information, but you won't be charged unless you use any of the paid service. Last, choose the support plan for your need. You can start with the basic plan, which is free, and upgrade it later if you want more feature or benefits. You can also sign up for a 12 months free trial and get access for over 100 AWS products, including compute, storage, database, or more. You can use AWS to build or deploy your own application, host your website, run data pipelines, or something else. You only need to pay for the service beyond the free trial. For more information, please see the AWS website. I list over here. An AWS Web Console is a web interface that allows you to manage your cloud resources and service. You can create, configure, and monitor things like EC2 instance, S3 bucket, Lambda function, or more. It's very easy. All you need is the AWS account you just created and a web browser. You can sign in with your email and password and using an IAM user or role you have one. And we will talk about IAM user later. The root user is the boss of your AWS account. It can do anything with your resources and billing information. An IAM user is like an employee who works for the root user. And so then you can access the web console from your device and explore many different services and features. You can also customize your dashboard or your preferences to fit what you want. To open a GCP account is similar to AWS. First, go to the website cloud.google.com and click the icon Get Started for free. You will need a Gmail account to sign up. Next, choose your country and accept the terms and conditions. You will also need to provide your credit card information, but the same, you won't be charged unless you upgrade your plan. You'll get a free trial with $300 for 90 days. In addition to GCP basic products like computing, storage, networking, you can also learn from online tutorial and labs, or get help from the GCP community and experts. And by the way, your UCL email is now part of Gmail, so you can just simply use your UCL email to sign up. And GCP Web Console is also a web-based interface that allows you to manage your GCP product and resources. After entering the GCP Web Console, the first thing you need to do is to create a project. A project is a way to organize your GCP resources and settings. All your work will be under a project. You can name your project whatever you want, and the system will provide you a project number. The project number is the unique number across the entire GCP domain. Your project ID is usually your project name followed by a few numbers. You also need to choose a location for your project, and that's where you can start to use the GCP cloud resources. In GCP project, you can create and configure virtual machine, storage bucket, database, or something more. You can also monitor your usage and billing and access the various tools and APIs. And of course, you can have multiple projects under one account. In clouds, your identity is important. Cloud IAM, which is Identity and Access Management, is a service that allows you to manage who can access your cloud resources and what they can do with them. You can create users, groups, roles, and policies to control permissions and actions of your cloud users. Cloud IAM is designed to be simple, secure, and scalable for any cloud environment. An identity in cloud service is a set of data that you can use to access the service and products. For example, your identity might include your name, email address, password, role, and permissions. You can use your identity to sign in the service, manage your account, and perform tasks that you are authorized to do. Depending on the cloud service, you might have different types of identities, such as user identity, service identity, or federated identity. User identity is created and managed by the cloud service provider. Service identity is used by application or some product that run on the cloud. Federated identity is a link to external identity provider, like social media platform. Identity is important because it enables security, privacy, and accountability for both users and the cloud provider. And usually, there are 3 types of account in the cloud service: billing account, user account, and service account. A billing account is where you set up your payment method and track your cost. A user account is what you use to sign in the cloud service and manage your resources or product. A service account is a special kind of account that allows the application or workload access to the cloud service APIs. You can create and manage your own service account or just use the one which is created automatically by the cloud service. Another thing you need to know about the cloud IAM is the role. A role in cloud service represents what an account can do. One common role in cloud service is the owner. The owner is the person or organization that has the biggest power or authorities and responsibility for the cloud resources they purchased. The owner can decide how to use, manage, and share the cloud resources and service with others. The second one is editor. The editor is the person that with the permission to modify and update the cloud resources or product they have access to. The editor can change the configuration, settings, content, or functionality of a cloud resources according to their need. The third one is the viewer. The viewer is the person that has the permission to view or access the cloud resources they have been granted. The viewer can only read or consume the cloud resources and product, but cannot change anything on them. Next, we are going to talk about some basic services and products that AWS and GCP offer, and how those products can help you with your research project. Whether you need to store data, run your simulation, deploy your model, AWS and GCP has a variety of options to fit what you need. So let's take a look. AWS Cloud Computing offers a huge variety of services for different needs and goals. Whether you want to host a website, store data, analyze big data, or train a machine learning model, AWS has a product for that. With over 200 products, AWS is widely used for many companies, industry, and academic researchers around the world. AWS has a lot of products that can help us with different purposes of cloud computing. You can separate them into some categories, like compute, storage, database, networking, security, and more. So each category has several products that have different features and use cases. Here are list the 3 categories highly used in academic field. The first one is the compute category. It's basically a way of grouping different types of computing service. For example, you can have the EC2, which allows you to launch virtual machines in the cloud. You also have Lambda, which allows you to run code without server management. You can also have the ECS and EKS, which use container or Kubernetes cluster. That's all the part of AWS compute category, and they have different use case and the benefit. It really depends on what you need. So the second category is the storage and content delivery category, which offer you the methods to store and deliver your content online. Something like S3, which is Scalable Object Storage Service that can store any amount of data over the internet. EFS is a file system that provides shared access to all your files from multiple EC2 instances or other AWS service. CloudFront is a global content delivery network that can speed up the delivery of your content to your user by using technology called edge location around the world. And database category offers a reliable, scalable, secure way to store and manage your data in the cloud. AWS offers a wide range of database options for different cases and workloads. It can be from rational to non-rational, from SQL to NoSQL, or from memory or to the graph. You can have a fully managed service that handles everything for you, or you can have a self-managed service that will give you more control or flexibility. In the same way, well, GCP has similar products category as the AWS, probably just with different name though. So I will not go over them, but one interesting category in GCP is machine learning, which lets the computer to learn from data and make predictions. Machine learning is also a hot topic in academic field and industry. Like what inside the machine learning category, like TensorFlow. TensorFlow is an open source framework for developing and running machine learning model. Dialogflow is a platform to build a conversation agent that can understand the natural language and also provide intelligent response. CloudVersion API is a service that provides you the image analysis, like face detection, object detection, text, or landmark identification. If you're looking for a simple way for your machine learning work and improve your efficiency, you probably want to consider just to use those API. This useful API provide a ready-to-use solution for common machine learning problems like classification, regression, clustering, natural language processes, and more. You don't need to write your own machine learning code from scratch or spend hours to tune the parameters. You can just use this API as a building blocks or for your project and get a reliable result in a short time. So we have learned a little bit about what AWS and GCP offer, but there is no free lunch. This cloud service is a business. They charge us for using their resources and product. In the following slides, I will talk about how much they cost and how we can do the budget control. Most cloud use the pay-as-you-go option. This means you only pay what you used, and you don't need to worry about any maintenance fee or contract. However, you get what you pay for, but you still can scale up and down, depends on what you want and your demands. Of course, there's still something you need to know about where you want it and what you want it. Different cloud providers may have different offer of features, price, and location for their service. You should compare them carefully and choose the one that fits you best. But don't forget, check out some discount some provider offers. Sustained use and committed use discount are two types of discount that you can get from some cloud providers based on how much you use it. Sustained use discount is a discount that automatically applies to your bill when you use a certain percentage of virtual machine capacity for a month. For example, if you use 75% of virtual machine capacity for a month, you probably can get 20 to 25% discount on that machine. Committed use discount is a discount that you can get when you commit to use a certain amount of resources for a fixed period of time, usually 1 to 3 years. For example, you can commit you want to use the 100 virtual machine for 3 years. So you probably can get 50% discount for those machines. However, those machines still have some trade-offs, so you need to be aware of. So here I listed the key factors that influence your cloud computing bill. The most important one is the compute instance type, which determines how much CPU, memory, and machine image you want to use. Different cloud providers offer different type of instances, so you need to compare them carefully. Another factor is the storage type, which affects how much data you can store and access in the cloud. You can choose between block storage, object storage, or file storage, depends on what you need. We'll talk about more detail in the difference about this storage in the storage workshops. The third factor is the network traffic. This measures how much data you transfer in and out of cloud. It can vary depending on your usage pattern and location. The last factor is any other special service you may need, like database, analytics, security, or even machine learning. This service can add value to your cloud computing. However, they come with a price tag as well. So in this slide, I list the charge of different compute instances on AWS. Say now you want to have an instance with 4 virtual CPU and 8 GB memory. First, we'll look at the effect of location. The location of a data center affects the price you pay for, even for the same type of instance. For example, in North Virginia, you pay around 10 cents per hour, but in Tokyo, you need to pay 12 cents per hour. That's almost a 20% increase. Different machine type has different price in the same region. For example, in AWS US West 2 region, which is Oregon, you can get a 4 virtual CPU and 8 GB memory instance with different CPU type. Like A1 X large has a regular CPU and the cost of 10 cents per hour. However, if you want to advance the one, like C6i X large, which has the faster and better CPU, it costs 70 cents per hour. That's a big difference, about 40%. Memory is also one of the things that affect your cost and performance of your computing instance. Basically, the more memory you want, the more you have to pay. Usually, there is a fixed ratio between the number of virtual CPU and amount of memory that come with it. You can see the table. When you double the requested memory, the number of virtual CPU also double. For example, a C4X large instance has 7.5 GB memory. It costs 20 cents per hour. If you want to upgrade it to C4AX large instance, you get 60 GB memory and pay about $1.6 per hour. And the increase rate is almost linear. So one more thing you need to think about is the machine image you want to use for your compute instance. This is the basic software run your instance, like operation system or any application you want to use. For the same instance, you pay less for open source operating system, like Debian or Ubuntu Linux. However, if you want to go with the enterprise Linux, like Red Hat, or even the Windows system, you need to pay more. And of course, you also need to pay some additional built-in software or application on that image. Cloud storage is also one of the things you need to consider when you use the cloud computing for data analysis, numerical simulation, or web design. It affects how much you pay for your cloud service. For example, if you use a GCP, you have different options of storage type and location you can choose. The standard storage type costs about 5 cents per gigabyte. But if you want the faster input and output, which is faster I/O, you can choose SSD, which costs 20 cents per gigabyte. The location of your storage also matters. This is because some region is more expensive than others. And for example, in Iowa, you can get a SSD storage around 70 cents per gigabyte. But in Tokyo, probably the living cost, the electricity is higher. You need to pay more than 22 cents for the same thing. So in addition to the instance type, you need to consider where you want to save your data for a cheaper price. If you choose the cloud service, you need to check how much you need to pay for spending and receiving data from or to your cloud resources. This is called ingress and egress cost. It depends on several factors, such as the type and the location of your resources, the destination and the origin of your data, and the network traffic. Usually the ingress, which means you upload data to the cloud provider, is free. But the cloud service will charge you when you download the data, which is egress. But it depends on where you send in those data and how much you send it. For example, if you send 10 petabytes of data per month to China, you will pay about $0.23 per gigabyte, which add up to like $23,100, that is a lot of money for just egress fee. But if you are sending data within the same region on Google Network, which you don't pay anything at all. Of course, there are other factors affecting the egress cost, like the network service you choose and the type of traffic you have. So you should plan ahead to optimize your network usage if you want to avoid paying too much for the egress fee. So if you want to see the potential cost of AWS and GCP service for your usage, you might want to check out the handy tool, which is AWS and GCP price calculator. It lets you to enter your usage detail for various products and like compute, storage, network, or more. And then you can know how much you need to pay for each platform. You can also see a breakdown of price component and just then, just between the product as you need. You can also export those estimate for a file or other format you want. And this kind of a calculator help you to make a decision to see which cloud provider you want to use and what kind of product you want to use. So before we go, the last thing about the budget you need to know is that actually the UC campus, UC has a discount program for using commercial cloud. This UC-wide agreement with the commercial cloud service is a big deal for UC students, staffs, and faculties. You can use AWS, GCP, and even Microsoft Azure without paying any extra fee or worrying about the security issue. The agreement also provides some training or some online tool to support and help you to use the cloud service. So if you are interested, please check those web pages for more details. So far, this is all I have for this part of the workshop, and we'll cover some more detail about cloud computing and product. So in the next part, we will dive into the Cloud Web Console and Cloud Shell and command line interface for both AWS and GCP. Thank you.